for finding me. And this is another video about ET contact, and I'm going to talk about ET contact and consciousness as well. Just some stuff that, you know, has been downloading and that I've been processing. So firstly, it's really important to kind of start shifting your paradigm about how you're gonna be contacted by these ETs, okay? Because there really is no common ground for us to have a relationship with ETs, and it's a very difficult concept to get our head around. I'm able to have this conversation with you because we have the exact same framework that we're working with, so communication is very, very easy. But to communicate with ET beings and other frequencies outside of ourselves, incredibly difficult because we have completely different frameworks and concepts. Absolutely no frames of reference that are the same, no language, nothing. Even emotions are difficult because, you know, there are some beings that don't have any emotion. You know, like I spoke about the greys. And also, that's it. Sorry, I just realised, because in my other video I totally forgot to talk about my Arcturus energy, the Arcturus energy that I connect with. Yes, so the Arcturus energy is the 9th dimensional energy that I work with. They are, you know, completely non-polarized, just unconditional love, just very, very balanced energy. They taught me a lot about the universe, how the universe actually works, the nature of reality. They love that kind of stuff. They're like the architects, you know, they're very technical. So they taught me a lot about, you know, how the universe actually works, the nature of reality, you know, the fact that we're born into the simulation and all this kind of stuff, gravity, you know, pulling us into our spirit, into this like densest form and stuff like that. Anyway, I could go off on one about that. Yeah, I work with the Arcturus energy as well. So yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm constantly accessing a lot of different energies. It's very, you know, like I said, it's very intense, but it's really fun. So one of the ways that you are going to be able to connect with these beings and connect with this energy is trusting what comes through. But also what's really important is like asking questions. You need to actually ask them stuff for them to be able to communicate with you. So most importantly, ask questions and then pay attention to what comes into your existence around you. Another way, or kind of knowing that you are, you know, communicating with these different energies, you know, one is gonna feel different, and there's just this like knowing, you know, that is the case. If there's love behind it, you know, there's always has to be love behind it. And also, say for example, sometimes when I'm like doing, you know, having a contact experience or doing contact work, and I'll kind of ask a question, or I'll think to ask a question, right? And then before I've even constructed that question in my mind, you know, because we're so linear, imagine you think of a question to ask and then you go to ask it in your head. And what happens for me anyway is just that answer comes in immediately before I've even thought about the question that I'm going to ask, and then I come in with the answer before I've even said it out loud in my head. Do you know what I mean? It's just so rapid and instant because they're only in the now. You know, they are so, you know, conscious and focused that they only live in the now. So there's no time, which means that there's no time for me to construct a question in my head because they're just there now giving me the answer, right? So that's a really kind of surefire way of knowing that you are working with these energies and these other beings. Just again, yeah, ask questions because, you know, so ask questions like, you know, what dimension are you in? You know, where are you from? What's your name? That's a big one. What's your name? It's just the first thing that comes in, and if there's that knowing, then like that's it. And usually, you know, what's happened with me is that, you know, I'll ask these questions, I get these answers, and for example, you know, I'll ask their name and the name will come in, and every single time I've been like, this is so random, you know, this is a random name, but whatever, you just trust it. And then I had this understanding that, of course, you know, they don't have names. I mean, I'm sure maybe they do have names, but they're group consciousnesses, so they don't really identify with names because that's just like a singularity thing. But anyway, I'm getting past the point. The point is that if they give you a name that's is going to be symbolic, everything they say to you is symbolic. Also, there's no language. They don't have a language, right? They don't speak English. They don't, you know? So it's like, it's really, you are the conduit, you are the interpreter. It's up to you to get this information and then interpret it in a way that's meaningful to you, right? Because it's your fucking experience, it's your contact experience, right? There is no right and wrong. There is no right and wrong with this. This is you having a beautiful experience of self-discovery, okay? So if, you know, they're giving you a name, and what I did was I Googled the names, right, to see what they meant and if there's any origin behind them. And that, you know, that was kind of all the answers that I needed, really. You know, there was so much symbology and meaning in the names that they gave to me. And that was very, very, very meaningful to me. You know, just enriched that experience and just really kind of helped me, you know, breadcrumbs and evidence know that these are legit, real entities and beings that I'm working with. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful and will give you a little bit more understanding about, you know, how to have these contact experiences. Also, I just want to say something about consciousness. Consciousness is basically the amount of experience that we have, right? That literally how much stuff are we conscious of? What are we actually aware of? And when we're evolving our consciousness, which means we're just aware of more shit, basically. We're just aware of more stuff. And working with these kind of higher consciousnesses, it's just that they know more than us. That's literally it. They just know more stuff than us. They've had more experiences. So for example, you know, for me, and you know, many of you as well, all the empaths or the light workers or the frequency keepers, we've had a lot of experiences and a lot of realms. You know, everything I talk about, the Orion experience, the Sirian experiences, the Pleiadian experiences, all of those experiences, the past lives, they have enriched our consciousness, you know, so much. We've incarnated here and, you know, it just doesn't feel right. You know, like there's just way more going on. And because we have that memory, we're just accessing that memory. It's literally just how much experience you've had and the realm of you. So, you know, when you say that you're an old soul, you know, that means that you've just had so much experience. You're just such a hugely conscious being, and you've, you know, chosen to incarnate into this time and space to hold that information, to literally hold that information. Light, you know, being a light worker, being a light bearer, light is information, and we just so happen to have a shit ton of it because we've lived in so many different existences and so many different experiences. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So, you know, being more conscious and, you know, it's having these experiences where you're like so conscious. It's like you're just so much more conscious of more stuff. You know, your awareness is just so expanded, and it gets to the point where you're just so fucking aware of shit that you just have no choice but to just break your old paradigms, break your old patterns. You know, like you're just not scared anymore. Like for example, like if you're scared of judgment, if you're scared of, you know, you one of the things that you're battling with, you're dealing with, is that you're scared of other people judging you. You know, once you kind of do this spiritual work and this spiritual development, and you realise and you are starting to be more conscious of and knowing that these other people, they are literally just you, another version of you, coming into your experience to help you see yourself. So it's just a mirror and a tool and a reflection, these other people. So why would you be scared of them judging you? They're just other aspects of you. They're just other versions of you. We're just one consciousness seeing through different eyes. So we're just the same. I am you and you are me. I'm talking to myself in you. You see? And you're watching another version of you speaking to you. It's a hard concept to get your head around. But once you start becoming conscious of this stuff, it really just becomes impossible to be authentically you. Like, there's just no going back. There's just no going back from, you know, there's going back into your experience of separateness and fear is like, no, I'm gonna stay in my consciousness, my expanded realm of consciousness now, because I feel safe. I can just feel safe knowing that I can be authentically myself, and I don't need to worry about people judging me, you know? It's so silly, actually, the more I think about that. This is so silly. We are one consciousness. I am you and you are me, and that's why I keep saying again and again that the greatest service you can give to others is to love your fucking self. If you love your fucking self, me loving me is my service to you. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk about crazy alien shit. Do you know what I mean? So I fucking love me. I love the experiences that I have. I love my ET contact experiences. I love my other selves. And I have a passion for galactic history and sharing that. I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't kind of broken free from these 3D experiences that keep us mired in this separate reality, you know? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much again for listening, and I hope that's helpful. Yeah, I love you so much. Again, you know, reach out to me if this resonates with you. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll speak to you soon. Love you.